So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I introduce myself? I'm Patrick Boisseau. I'm the chairman of the European Technology Platform on Nanomedicine, and I had the pleasure to chair this session this afternoon. And so this session is organized by the European Technology Platform, where, let's say, translation, and I will tell you what we understand by translation, is one of our major action. So I will start with a short introduction with some slides, if I use the beamer. Okay, so just to remind you some key figures, which I'm going fast because you have heard these figures already. So, but Europe has an enormous potential in nanomedicine. We have, of course, a strong academic community. We have a significant pool of companies, small companies and some large companies. And we have some quite very active national platforms. And the European Commission has already invested a lot under FP7, so from 2007 and 2014, with more than 600 million euro invested in R&D projects. And this trend is continuing and even a little bit accelerating since the start of Horizon 2020. And support is given, let's say, in all the programs of the European Commission. It's not only, let's say, nano program, but also Marie Curie, even fundamental research under the ERC and so on. And no, nanomedicine is not a dream of crazy scientists. It's a reality. So you know that's 40 approved drugs in the US, 20 in Europe, and there are some, and these pictures show you some products on the market. And I take this opportunity just to remind you that nanomedicine is not restricted to nanopharma or to nanotherapeutics only. You know, you have use of nanoparticles for diagnostic tools, whether in vitro, in vivo, for devices as well. So don't restrict our discussion only to nanopharma. Well, this is always cautious using, let's say, market studies. But anyway, whatever the studies, it is anticipated, let's say, a significant growth of this in the market of nanomedicine with an average plus 14% of annual growth rates. And so this is how ETPN is describing the translation for us. Translation is the phase between, let's say, a preclinical proof of concept, usually acquired or demonstrated in an academic environment, and then to bring it to the early clinical trials if this is, let's say, a drug for in vivo administration, or let's say to the prototyping phase for, let's say, medical devices, for instance. And this is, well, I would be tempted to use the word valley of death, which is used, let's say, by so many people, but it has been so used that there are so many people in this valley of death that it's no longer an isolated place. So translation, so we want ETPN is trying to develop, let's say, a different set of complementary activities to move, let's say, projects from this preclinical proof of concept until, let's say, the early clinical proof of concept. And this is just a summary of, let's say, the 5 ongoing actions initiated by ETPN. So the Translation Advisory Board, and we can discuss it after the presentations. It is a key tool which had its kickoff yesterday and which will have its first session at the next October. Funding instruments, European Nanomedicine Characterization Lab, which has been presented already yesterday, the pilot lines, and we have some people managing this pilot in the room, and then the selection of the Centers for Clinical Investigation. And so I will not spend too much time on this. It has been presented, so it means nanomedicine is not just making recommendations, writing white papers, publications, but we are also implementing what we believe in. So the pilot lines, the tab, so I mentioned it already. And so now, this is, it was just an introduction just to show you that now we will have 3 top stories presented by very nice speakers, and each of these speakers will explain, let's say, what the real life is. That's not explaining what translation means in theory, but the daily rocky road of translation. And so now we will start with David Boisseau, who will talk about, let's say, how the UK experience in building a support from concept to commercialization. And then we will have Vivian Williams and then Felix Michnax. And they are all coming from industry. They all have an industrial experience, so they know what they are talking about. And for practical reasons, each speaker will deliver his or her 15-minute speech, and we will move the questions afterwards, because Laurent Lévy, unfortunately, who was the fourth speaker, cannot attend the meeting today. So we have some extra time for questions and discussion, and I warmly recommend you to take the opportunity of having these so prestigious speakers or experts in the room to ask questions, all the questions you have in mind about translation. So, David, the floor is yours.
Thank you.